Okay, here we are, beginning of August, doing a little update, kind of my journal entry, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's been interesting. Um, One of my corner pot planters there with lemongrass, rosemary, and geraniums. Earwigs, let me tell you, I hate them. It's been a constant battle. They really wreaked some havoc on my marigolds here. But I have some others that are thriving. I just keep treating it and trying to get rid of them. The Vinca, I will say, actually did really well. Bigger pot next year, FYI, as my diary here. Thriving. Keep treating that one. Every once in a while I notice some earwig nibbles on it, and I just put some 7 in there. These are the pickling cucumbers that I actually bought as seedlings. Some of them survived, some did not. They are really looking a little scraggly. They're still flowers though. I've gotten probably about 7 so far. Actually, I need to get those going. I have a couple of new ones that are popping up, so I'm not getting rid of them yet. I'm going to see what I can get throughout the whole season, and there are new flowers. I might come out here and try to do some hand pollinating today to see if that helps with some of these guys that are here. Because, you get the ones that just don't pollinate, and then they look like that, and then they fall off. Well, I actually pick them off when they start getting brown. Beans are doing good. Definitely want to have a few more bean plants next year. Just to get a good harvest. I do need to take some off today. I did a couple weeks ago plant a couple more seeds. There's one. This other one back here isn't looking so hot, but just to try to see if I could bump up getting a few more beans before the end of the season. Again, it's beginning of August, so here in Wisconsin you just never know. It could snow tomorrow. These are spectacular. I started these from seeds. I'm thinking seeds are a way to go instead of buying seedlings. But then again, who knows? I might try that next year and I might fail. But this year, holy cow. Definitely too crowded. Need to have their own little pot, I think, next year. Hopefully I'll have a greenhouse. I started to count. I got to about 20 and I stopped, but got quite a few big ones in there, and there's a bunch of little ones all throughout that are starting in lots of flowers. I did do cross-pollinating or pollinating with a Q-tip, so it could have been me, it could have been the pollinators, it could have been a combination of the both of us, but wow, it's just huge, spectacular, but they are kind of choking each other out, I feel. So next year they're gonna get a little bit more space, and we're gonna see what happens. Salsarific peppers, look at them, it's just covered in peppers. These guys are doing great. So my husband did actually try one at the campground with a friend, and yeah, they were hot. Pepper plant, we did have a tornado here in Palmyra. I guess actually just right outside of Palmyra, which is about a mile away, is where it originated. And I'm just looking at that little chippy. That's the first chipmunk I've seen here. Anyway, sorry. The storm wreaked havoc. I mean, my planters were tipped over. It was a hot mess. My Starlink actually flipped over. So we didn't have any internet, but our neighbor told us that we did have lights on outside, so we knew we had power. But pepper plant, really looking sad ever since then. The soil seems to be pretty darn wet yet, so I'm backing off on the watering to see if I can get it to kind of bump up. I mean, there's still some peppers on there, so it's still producing, but just doesn't look happy. I give it a little food too, I think, today. The tomato plant did not make it. That was lost cause. I believe it was overwatered. and I just couldn't get it to bounce back. So I decided to call it quits, and we'll try something new next year. Basil is thriving. Very bushy. Keep cutting snippets off to add in with some of our dishes for meals. And I'm starting to look up recipes on how to freeze basil, make basil pesto and freeze it, things along that line, because there's a lot. And we love basil, but that's a lot of basil. I've also got a couple of cuttings inside that I'm getting some roots on, so I might actually put those inside in a pot and see what happens with those. There's my other lemongrass, rosemary, and geranium. Seems to have done pretty well this year. And then these are the hanging pots that I was trying to resurrect. Some of them, the other ones did not make it, which was okay because I really wanted them for the hanging pots anyway. But I actually had to put this chair kind of in front of them and put them off in this corner because they receive full sunlight up until about noon. I don't think they like it so much. I mean, these purple flowers, they were almost non-existent when I brought it home from the camper, but they're doing really good. And that one seems to be bouncing back a little bit. So there you have it. Composite deck, I think, also plays a factor in some of the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it does get hot. And I have read that is not necessarily very good for a lot of these plants. But cucumbers, meh, I don't know. They seem to be thriving. I mean, I have to water them 3 times a day. But that's also because I think they're overcrowded and they need more space. So next year, that's what they're going to get. So here's my diary info for things to reflect upon when I start planning for next year. Oh, look at that. How beautiful is that right there? Hi, buddy. On that note, happy gardening.